Alright, בעצם היום הזנים על Avraham, the Maamar from Torah Ohr, a classically said over by a Bris. In the essence of that day, Avraham was circumcised. To understand the question that's mentioned in Sfarim, Avraham is asking, why did Avraham Avinu not give himself a bris beforehand? So immediately it says, because he kept the entire Torah before it was given, even a Revi Tavshilin. If Yom Tov goes into Shabbos, you're not supposed to cook on Yom Tov for a day that's not Yom Tov, so you have to make an Erev Tavshilin to cook for Shabbos. He's so far front that he doesn't have a bris. It's like I saw a video, I didn't watch the video, but I saw a video going around of a Goyish rabbi. And then someone found out that he was not Jewish, but he's a rabbi already. So a Goyish rabbi. I think he converted, I don't know, I didn't watch the video. Yeah. But Avraham Avinu, he's keeping Erev Tavshilin, he doesn't have a bris. I mean, there's a whole debate if Avraham Avinu was Begeder Yid. The Re-Engel has a whole lot of chakiris about if he was and if he wasn't actually talking to Chatzi Shir. There's a lot of interesting stuff with that. But the Maisa Avraham Avinu didn't have a bris. So in order to understand this, we need to understand a milah. What is a milah that he didn't get it? Because it says about the milah, I mean, not talk about the milah, it says in Parshas Nitzavim, if I'm not mistaken, so gesund, that who will go up to us to the heavens to take the Torah, to say, as in Moshe Rabbeinu was telling the Yidden, that the Torah is very close to you. The conclusion of it is Kikar V'Lacha Davar Moed. So Moshe Rabbeinu says it's not B'Shemayim, that you need to say who's going to go up for us to get the Torah. And it's not Me'ever L'Yam that you're going to say who's going to go across the sea to take it for us. Ella Kikar V'Lacha Davar Moed. Really, it's very close to you. So the words Mi Yad L'Lan Rashamayim Rashi Tevis Milah, V'Sefi Tevis Avaya. The first letter of each word is Milah. And the second letter of each word, the last letter of each word is Havaya. First it says that you will circumcise the Orla of your heart. And then it says that Hashem will circumcise your heart. So what does it mean that first it says you're going to circumcise, then it says Hashem is? There's two levels of milah. One of them is from below to above. That we need to remove the arla of our leave. This is the concept of tshuva, that it says that you return to Hashem your God through fulfilling Torah mitzvahs. That if the Yidden will do tshuva, they'll be redeemed, and if not, they won't be redeemed. And after the after we're all gathered from Golos about that, it says that Hashem is going to bring us to the land and He's going to do good for us. This is the second milah, the milah from above to below. That Hashem will circumcise our hearts. This is what it means when it says you'll have more good than your ancestors. The level of all the good that Hashem has hidden for us. Because about Moshe Rabbeinu it says that his mother saw him kitoifu, that he was good. What does it mean? So the Medrash says it means that he had a bris milah. Not a bris milah, but he had a milah. He was circumcised. So when you see that toiv, the veitivcha, that Hashem is going to do good for you, means that we're going to have an extra level of milah. That is to say, the first milah is a milah that we do. And the isra is that Hashem is going to circumcise our hearts. And about the second milah that comes after Golus is already done, and after we're all gathered up, and after we fulfill the entire Torah, about this milah, it says who's going to go up for us in the heavens. Rashi Tevis Milah, this is the Rashi Tevis of Milah, but it's particularly this level of Milah, Shehi, the Mailam of Chinas Torah, that's higher than the level of Torah. About the Torah it says, it's not in the heavens. The Milah is higher than, as in the beginning of each of these words is Milah. But the Torah, about the Torah, actually saying in the Pasuk, the Torah is not B'Shamayim, that it's down here below. As it's mentioned in the Gemara, that we learned from this pasuk, Psakin Halacha, the famous story of the oven of Achnoi, that there was machlekes, Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Yeshua, about if such an oven is tamei, and ultimately Rabbi Elazar said, I need divine assistance if I'm right, let a baskel come out from the heavens and say that I'm right. And a baskel came out and said, who are you to argue with Elazar, my son? Don't you know the halacha is like him in every instance? And Rabbi Yeshua said, Ein mashkichim a baskel. We don't listen to a baskel, because Torah is lebeshamayim. Torah is lower than the heavens now. That's the whole source. So Lebesh Mayim, he is saying that Torah is taka. It's not this supernal thing that overrides our will. We have what to handle with in Torah. So because the Torah is not in Shemayim, and it's lower than Shemayim, and that's why it's called Torah Savaya. Kishem Avaya, because Shem Avaya refers to the whole Seder Shalshos. Yud Simsum, Hey Spashos, Vavam Shacha. That the Yud is Simsum, it's a small letter, the smallest letter, a single point. The Hey is Spashos, that you're spreading it out. And the Vav refers to the line from top to bottom, and some Shacha. Through this, Torah is drawn below. So that's why it's called Torah Savaya. It's the Torah that's drawn down below. From you have the first letter Yud of just the Tzimtzum as it is by the Eibishter, and then ultimately it gets flashed out, and then it gets brought down to us that we have Reuven stole from Shimon, and that's the case in Torah. It's not some deep spiritual thing in that context. It's a grabba thing that Reuven wanted Shimon's chayfet, and so he stole it. So you have that concept. The milah that we say that Hashem is that we say is higher, that Hashem is going to do for us, is higher than Shem Havaya. Actually, Rashi Tevis for Shem Havaya will Sefer Tevis, until the point that it's the Rashi Tevis, and Shem Havaya is only the Sefer Tevis. And that is why it is in the level of Hashemayim. If you think I need to take him, maybe I'll take him. And it's higher than the level of Torah, which Torah was brought down to this world. About this, the Chachamim say, about this, the Chachamim say, great is the milah, ultimately the milah that Hashem says, that He tells Avraham Avinu, all of the things, all of the covenants that He has, this milah is tied to that. And it says, great is the milah that Hashem told 13 Lashonis of Bris to Avraham Avinu about this Bris. The explanation of what it means that milah is great. It's this great milah that ultimately will be from above to below. I'm in Mikdash Melech Al Zayar. So it's this great milah that Hashem is going to circumcise our hearts Himself. And that's why it was caught with 13 covenants. It's known the concept of having a covenant is higher than Seichel and Das. Like two people that love each other, that they have a covenant between each other, that they will love each other. That is to say, that you're going to love the other person even though you wouldn't be inclined to doing so based on your intellect and your knowledge. You're forcing yourself to love in a way that's above Seichel and Das. And it makes sense, because if you were always relying on Seichel and Das, why do you need a bris? Just say, I'm always going to have Seichel and Das, and so I'm always going to love you. Christus bris is that even if things aren't so smooth, but you're always going to have that covenant, you're always going to have that deal. And similarly, in order to have the revelation and the drawing of the level of milah, the great milah of Hashem, Hashem circumcising our hearts that we mentioned before, this is the level of Marav Tuvcha. It's through the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim that are also above the Chacham and Seichel. It's also irrational. And that's why it's higher than the level of Shem Havaya, and it's higher than the level of Torah. Just like the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, they're also a higher level that's higher than Torah, and that's why from there you're able to forgive. If Hashem would only be looking in the lens of Torah, then when the Yidden did the Chet Egel, Hashem should have said, all right, it's done. The Yidden are done. They're all chayav kares, skill of chulu, hereg if it's in your nidachas, whatever it is. At the end of the day, though, Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu there's the cheat, which is you say go above Torah. Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim are saying that Torah is taka Torah, but Hashem, our relationship with you goes deeper than Torah, goes higher than Torah. That's why the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim are able to work. About this it says, until your nation will pass Havaya. That is to say that Moshe Rabbeinu is saying in Oz Yasher, and this is relevant for before Pesach. There's a lot of Maimarim that discuss this idea in Oz Yasher, that ultimately Oz Yasher is referring to what's going to be in the future. And so Moshe Rabbeinu is telling Hashem that you bring us to Eretz Yisrael until Ad Yaver, until we ultimately get to the point where we're able to be brought into Eretz Yisrael in the way that the ultimate kavanah is going to be fulfilled. And also by Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, it also says Vayaver. So the idea of Vayaver is until we rise to a level that's higher than everything else. Ad Yaver Amcha Avaya is to say until we pass over the level of Avaya. And it's also with the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim. With this we can understand why Avraham Avinu kept the whole Torah before it was given, but he did not keep the mitzvah milah.
I don't understand how is this answer why he didn't have milah?
So he wanted to be able to tap into this idea. Milah is a one-time thing. You only get one foreskin. It's a one-time deal. If he would have just done a bris milah, take mitzad Torah, he would have been yotze. But are we doing mitzvahs to be yotze? Or are we doing it to have the relationship?
Why are we giving 8 days? Why don't we give kid till he's 13 years old, till he understands things, to see if he wants to have a meal.
So the Rebbe has a seicha. He says the difference between Yishmael and Yitzchak. It says that they were having a conversation, and Yishmael said, "I'm better than you because
It says over here about Yishmael.
Oh, we're getting there. Okay, so we'll get there when we get there. But yeah.
That's in Tazria. It's in the Kuti Torah.
Yeah.
He explains
The kid.
The specialty.
The 8th day is B'chal L'mayla Nateva, but as far as having the seichel, so it says that Yishmael Taka told Yitzchak, "I'm better than you because I chose to have a milah."
Yaakov's clearly relying on seichel over here.
Avraham Avinu was.
I'm sorry.
Avraham Avinu was Taka that he missed that boat. We say that Yitzchak is called Yedid. He's called He's called Yedid. It's a special lashon of endearment that Yitzchak is called because he was Taka, the first person born into the bris. Avraham Avinu, Taka chose it, and it's Taka chasaron in the bris. There's no way of getting them back. Halavai, not everyone has everything. It's Taka chasaron in Avraham Avinu's bris, but he wanted that it should be not just Tama mitzvah, not just a way of completion. It says that Bilam was the greatest Navi of Goyim, and he fell on his face because he had an Erla. Avraham Avinu, he experienced divine revelation. It's implied that Avraham Avinu taka until he had the bris, he was talking on in that way with the relationship with Hashem, and it was only afterwards that you were able to have Ayir Elavavaya that he was able to have a proper nevuah. But at the end of the day, he didn't want to go into that because he didn't want to just do it for his own completion. He didn't want to just do it because of his own idea of following the Torah. He wanted to merit to this bris with Hashem. So ultimately, this is why he kept the Torah. That's why he kept the Torah in such a way. He wanted to reach the Milah Gdela from the Milah Lamata, and that's why. So he kept the whole Torah, but besides for Milah, so he could ultimately get to this great Milah Milah. This is why it says Nimal Avraham. It doesn't say that Avraham circumcised himself. Like it says about Yishmael and Miknas Kaspe that it says Vayamol. The Fishihi Amilah Shemilamata Kedichsiv Malta Masar Slavachim. This is analogous to the Milah Shemilamata that it says that you will circumcise your hearts. Avraham Zachal Gili Bechinas Molavayas Lavavcha Alkei Namar Nimal Avraham. And about Avraham it says that Hashem circumcises Molavayas Lavavcha, and this is why it says. Nimal Avraham. If I'm not mistaken, there's actually a medrash that says that Avraham Avinu was scared to do the milah, and so Hashem said, "I'm going to hold onto the knife and I'm going to do it with you."
Right.
So they did it together. Hashem was involved in the milah of Avraham. This is what it means that in the essence of the day he was circumcised. In the essence of the day, that is to say, it was like a revelation of Messiah Tzaitin. But the essence of the day, this great revelation that's going to be in the future, the revelation of the level of Rav Tucha that we mentioned before, this is a day that's completely good. And when Avraham Avinu felt the revelation of Mashiach, he said, now I know that I'm zeicher to the...
That's
Milah is connected to Mashiach. That's if you have to sum it up in one line.
There's a mimer over here, in Tazria, explains